It really is a privilege to have pets. They're loyal, the perfect company whenever we feel down, and ultimately, just a part of our family. That's why it's so sad to see our beloved animals get lost for no reason. You'd think that your unconditional love for these animals should be more than enough to keep them safe at home. But sometimes an open door, the need for food, and many other factors can make your pets run away from the comfort of your house. In today's video, though, we're going to be looking at pets that returned home after being lost. Number 15. A yellow lab named TUFF. TUFF was a very loyal companion to his owner Chris Jackson, but one day Chris decided to go for some drinks and left his dog chained up in the tray of his car. Suddenly, someone walked by and either wanted to steal TUFF or just got tired of seeing the dog in chains. This person unchained the dog, and when Chris came out of the tavern, his dog was gone. Chris and his girlfriend went around their neighborhood posting signs and doing everything they could to get their dog back. Many people had seen TUFF, but no one was actually able to catch him and bring him home. In the end, Chris was able to reunite with his dog after TUFF crossed a river near the house. TUFF was either a very good swimmer or he managed to use the bridges, which shows that he's a very smart dog indeed. Our next entry is Nigel the Parrot. Nigel was a parrot in California that was learning to speak with a British accent thanks to his owner Darren Chick. But in 2010, Nigel flew away from his home. 4 years later, someone brought Nigel to the veterinarian and they managed to reunite him with Darren. Sadly for Darren, though, Nigel didn't speak English anymore. The parrot had actually learned to speak Spanish. This is because the parrot had been living with a Spanish-speaking family. Ruben Hernandez, the grandfather of the family, had lost his wife, and he became close to the parrot, and that's how Nigel learned to speak a whole new language. By the time Nigel returned to Darren, Ruben's granddaughter told him the story and allowed the parrot to go back to his new family. Our next entry is Laser the Beagle. Welcoming a 3-year-old beagle must have been a very exciting experience for Perry LePage, a resident of Winnipeg. But the excitement didn't last long as the little dog disappeared after 1 month of being in his new home. Poor little Laser got scared after a firework display and ran away from his family. The LePage family did what everyone else would do. They put up posters looking for any information about their poor lost dog. They did start to get calls from people around town, and every new call came from people who lived closer to the LePage home. And finally, Laser was found at a school and was able to reunite with his owners. And I'm sure they stayed away from fireworks after that scary experience. Our next entry is GIGGLE-BLIZARD. Tracy Steger became worried when she lost GIGGLE-BLIZARD, her brave, oddly named cat. Tracy saw a cat getting eaten by vultures and another one getting hit and killed by a car. To her relief, though, none of them was her strong GIGGLE-BLIZARD. After 11 days, GIGGLE-BLIZARD finally came back to his home. We're not really sure about how he got back to Tracy, but what we do know is that the poor thing's back legs were crushed by a car, and no wonder it took him so long to make it back to his owner. But we're all glad he did despite all the dangers around him, and I do believe he made a full recovery. Our next entry is WOOSIE. Sometimes losing a pet is so devastating that you give up and stop looking for him. That's what Helen and Philip Johns did after they lost their cat WOOSIE. But WOOSIE was still alive. The cat had found a new home in Ginster's Pasty Factory, a company that specializes in making all sorts of tasty snacks. The new owners gave him a new name of George and spoiled him with sausages and other goods from their shop. But one day, WOOSIE got sick and was taken to the veterinarian. That's where they found out that the cat was not a stray one. He actually had a home. The vet contacted Helen and Philip, and they were happily reunited with their cat, who had gained a few extra pounds after all the spoiling from the shop owners. Our next entry is Corky. Corky was a small terrier mix when he was welcomed into the Montez family home in 2009. But one day the small dog left his Texan home and wasn't found. The years passed and the family probably gave up hope. But after almost 7 years, someone found 2 dogs on the side of the road. When they were scanned for microchips, they realized that one of the dogs was in fact Corky. The Montez family was happy to be reunited with their dog after such a long wait. But Corky wasn't alone anymore. He had made a friend, a one-eyed dog that they called Captain. Captain seemed younger and in desperate need of company, and it was evident that Corky helped him survive in the wild. The Montez family decided to add Captain to their family. There was no way they could separate Corky from his new best friend. Our next entry is Abby. 10 years passed before Abby, a black lab, went to her neighborhood in Pennsylvania. She showed up at a spot that was 10 miles away from her original home. Her owners thought that the dog had passed away since it had been so long since the last time they saw her. When they found their dog, they felt like a piece of their past had come back to life. Our next entry is Reckless. One of the scariest things about natural disasters is that they can easily separate us from the things that we love the most. This is what happened to a family in New Jersey after Hurricane Sandy in 2012 led Reckless, their terrier pit bull mix, to escape from their backyard. For many months, the family searched for the dog without any success. However, 2 years after the incident, the family went to an SPCA facility to adopt a new dog for the 10th birthday of one of the girls. To their pleasant surprise, they found their missing Reckless and they were able to reunite with him. Our next entry is Sophie Tucker. Sophie Tucker's story begins when the dog fell overboard from a ship off the coast of Queensland in Australia. Her family was so worried that they thought their unlucky Australian cattle dog had drowned. But that wasn't true. Sophie managed to swim for more than 5 miles and made it to a remote island on which she lived off some goats for a few months before some rangers helped her reunite with her own family. A pleasant surprise, to say the least. Our next entry is ZEUS. Sometimes moving places means leaving our beloved pets with another loving owner. This is what Ben, Melody, and their 2 sons had to do when they left North Carolina to move to South Korea. They left their Rottweiler mix named ZEUS with a new family. After a couple of months, Ben and his family got a call and they told them that ZEUS had died. But 2 years later, Ben and his family relocated to Washington. They got a call from an animal hospital and learned that ZEUS was actually alive. Sadly though, ZEUS was in very bad condition and the dog wasn't able to fly to his family. Though in good news, ZEUS was in very good hands. One of the managers at the hospital took the dog and drove thousands of miles to reunite ZEUS with Ben and the rest of the family. Our next entry is Ginger. Ginger was a cat that escaped a vet's office in England. His goal was to make it back to his home, but there were some obstacles along the way. First of all, this cat had only one eye, and secondly, there was a lot of snow. But none of these things stopped the cat from reaching his destination. He traveled for 10 days over 5 miles of snow to reach the home of his owner, Jane Middleton. One of the nurses at the hospital highlighted that such a journey was almost impossible for a cat. However, no busy road or stormy night stopped Ginger from reuniting with Jane. Our next entry is PIKO-CHAN. Never underestimate the skills of a parrot. This cool-looking bird named PIKO-CHAN escaped his home and flew to a hotel where he stayed for a while until the police were called. The officials didn't know what to do, but finally the bird spoke and told them his address. They were able to bring the bird back to his home thanks to the fact that he remembered his address and was able to say it out loud. All of this happened thanks to the help of PIKO-CHAN's owner, who taught the bird to recite his address since he had lost another bird in the past and didn't want this to happen again. Our next entry is Nika. It's really sad to know that your pet got lost, but it's even more devastating to know that it's been stolen by someone. In 2012, Giuseppe DeBella's dog was stolen off her leash while she was in the backyard. The name of the dog was Nika, and Giuseppe was so sad to know that someone evil out there had taken their dog. 2 years later, Giuseppe got a call from someone who claimed to have found Nika. Giuseppe was ready to go and reunite with Nika, but the dog was in Florida and Giuseppe was in New York. However, a family friend took care of Nika and helped her recover before she brought him to Giuseppe over the Thanksgiving break. I bet for them that was the happiest Thanksgiving. Now it's time for the day's best pick. Next on the list, I have a story about a large animal that got lost but was able to have a rewarding reunion with its owner. Let's check out the story with the horse and her owner. Samantha King was only 13 years old when she welcomed a horse into her life in 1998. She named the horse Lady, and they both became best friends. Lady was there for Samantha during one of the hardest seasons of her life. A year after Lady's arrival, Samantha's mom passed away. Sadly, a few years after that, someone stole Lady, and Samantha was brokenhearted. She gave up hope and thought she had lost her horse forever. However, in 2012, someone called Samantha up to help a horse in need. And as soon as Samantha saw the horse, she realized that it was Lady. She was so happy to reunite with her horse and realize that the bond they had was still present. The horse that was there in the hardest times was back in Samantha's life. Before we move on, do me a favor. My analytics show that only about 15% of you watching are actually subscribed. Come on guys, what's up with that? Can you guys please hit the subscribe button? You guys watch my videos every day anyway, so you might as well subscribe and keep up to date with every video we put out. The Siberian Husky named Moon. It all started when Doug DeShiel went out on a trip with his dogs in Nevada. They stopped for a break in the Railway Valley, and as soon as the dogs were out, Moon ran away. Doug tried to chase the dog but finally gave up and realized that he had lost his dog forever. Or at least that's what he thought. But Moon surprised his owner and traveled back for more than 70 miles back to his home. That means that Moon had to cross a desert, a white river, and a mountain range before getting back to Doug. When they reunited, Doug said that Moon smelled like a skunk, which means that the dog had probably had to eat some animals to survive such a long journey. Truly a modern-day odyssey. These are all the inspiring stories I have for you today. I hope you're taking good care of your pets. Do you have any inspiring stories like the ones I shared today? If so, let us know in the comment section down below. With all that said and done though, that's our video for today folks, and I will see you all next time. Later everybody!